Do you think Assad is our enemy?
Assad is not the enemy of the United States because Syria does not pose a direct threat to the United States. Whether it is Syria or any of these other countries, we need to look at how their interests are counter to or aligned with ours.
Are Assad's interests aligned with ours?
What are Assad's interests?
Assad seems interested in the slaughter primarily of his own people.
Those statements made by Tulsi Gabbard more than 5 years ago are putting her under the spotlight today as she meets with senators on Capitol Hill to drum up support as President-elect Trump's pick for Director of National Intelligence. The former Congresswoman is also drawing renewed scrutiny for her 2017 visit to Syria to meet with Bashar al-Assad, who fled the nation yesterday after rebel forces seized the Syrian capital. Our Scott MacFarlane is on Capitol Hill for us tonight. Scott, good to see you. So tell us a little bit about who Gabbard is meeting with on the Hill today, and how is that trip to Syria and her comments about Assad playing? Are they having any impact on her confirmation?
Yeah, Caitlin, she is following the path of some of the other nominees, starting off with Trump's loyalists in the U.S. Senate, those who have unequivocally and consistently backed what Donald Trump says and what Donald Trump does. So she met with senators from Oklahoma, South Dakota, and Iowa today. No surprise there. We pressed her as she walked down that hallway about her thoughts on Assad's fall in Syria. Because of those allegations, she is close to Assad or has supported Assad. She walked past without answering. When she came back out, we asked her other questions, and she answered in a way that didn't directly respond to the issue of Assad, just saying that she supports what Donald Trump says about Syria and about Assad. She will no doubt be asked these questions during these one-on-one meetings. But, Caitlin, the premise here remains the same, whether it's the defense secretary nominee, the FBI nominee, or this intelligence nominee. She is beginning with the political low-hanging fruit, the people who are always consistently supportive of Donald Trump and are likely to support most, if not all, of his nominees.
And making another appearance on Capitol Hill today is Kash Patel. He's another one of Trump's more controversial picks, but also a top loyalist of his. Where does support for him stand at this point to be FBI director?
Yeah, he's auditioning for a job that doesn't have an opening right now.
Right.
The FBI director position is filled with a Trump appointee, Christopher Wray, who is to serve until 2027. Now, Kash Patel, before he even took a meeting today, got a big boost of support. Chuck Grassley, the incoming chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, who will oversee confirmation processes here, issued a letter to Christopher Wray saying Wray should stand down, that he's been disappointed in the FBI's performance, which would open a door for Kash Patel to get that job. Kash Patel also meeting, though, as the day concluded here, with those Trump loyalists in the U.S. Senate. Not a dissenting voice about Kash Patel from any of those he met with. That would include John Cornyn of Texas, who walked out of that meeting you're seeing on your screen and told me that at this point, Kash Patel appears to be ready for the job, and that if the job is open, there's no indication of opposition, at least not yet, to Kash Patel. But to be clear here, Kash Patel comes in with a lot of baggage for Democrats. He was there perpetuating Donald Trump's baseless claims about the 2020 election, made some provocative moves up the ladder in the final days of the first Trump presidency. Democrats are ready to question him, saying that he is a loyalist to Donald Trump and will not be a loyalist to the FBI itself or the Department of Justice. We'll see if that criticism gets anywhere. But the day concluded here, Caitlin, with no dissenting voices in the Republican Party, at least not outwardly, about Kash Patel.
That's interesting, Scott. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about this interview that Trump did with NBC over the weekend, his first interview since his election, at least on television. He talked about this campaign promise to pardon January 6th defendants. I want to play a little of what he said.
Look at everything. We're going to look at individual cases, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to be acting very quickly.
Within your first 100 days, first day?
First day.
First day.
Now, Scott, I know you've been covering these cases very closely. Where do they stand now, and what does that mean for those who have already been convicted?
There's a lot to unpack in what Donald Trump said about January 6th yesterday, and if you look into the subtext, there's a lot of news there. First of all, that he'd move on the first day shows the urgency with which he is moving with something we're not sure is publicly popular. There are 1,500 plus January 6th defendants, some of whom, hundreds of whom, are accused of assaulting police, some of gassing police that day. But what Trump also said to Meet the Press yesterday is that one of the rationales he's bringing to this is that those people, in his words, have been locked up for years in a bad place, references to jails or prisons. Those who've been locked up for years are not the misdemeanor defendants or those who were nonviolent. Those who've been locked up for years and face the prospect of years more are those who assaulted police. And if he is talking about pardoning those top-line defendants, it would indicate he may be considering pardoning all of the January 6 defendants, not some. He's never specified if it's all or some, and there could be any number of political ramifications to that choice, Caitlin, but also any number of people would say if you pardon everybody for a violent insurrection, you are just whetting the prospects of future political violence.
Indeed. Well, Scott MacFarlane, thank you for covering it all for us tonight. We appreciate it.